Well, around the time that you guys parted ways, there was a rumor that Yella Boy pistol whipped Baby and shot up one of his trucks.
Yella did actually go to his house looking for him and, shot up the house and
So Yella Boy out there, I'm hiding in the hallway, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm young though, So bam, I'm like, man, I ain't about to go out with him, cause I done heard so much stories about him, like he thugging, he gangster. Just being a fan of them to becoming like, I don't know if they thought that we was trying to take their shine or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yella Boy gets and you get blamed for it. But you had nothing to do with it.
But the feds cleared me from that because they had to do their investigation. People will point the finger and say, I did this or did that, and I'll be with the president, but because of my reputation, for them knowing me doing stuff, I get blamed for everything.
You know the saying about someone shooting themselves in the foot? Well, in the case of Albert Thomas, better known as Yella Boy, that was exactly what happened. On April 5th, 1997, Yella Boy's life was tragically cut short, and the events leading up to it suggest he may have been the cause of his own downfall.
and he was going to get some dope or whatever, some heroin, and he was in his car.
The story takes a wild turn when it involves none other than Cash Money Records CEO, Birdman. Allegedly, Yella Boy made the bold and incredibly dangerous decision to shoot up not only Birdman's truck but also his mother's house. That reckless move turned out to be the last thing Yella Boy ever did, as it reportedly sealed his fate.
Well, around the time that you guys parted ways, there was a rumor that Yella Boy pistol whipped Baby and shot up one of his trucks.
Yella did actually go to his house looking for him and, shot up the house and
Naturally, after his death, all fingers pointed toward Birdman. But what could drive Yella Boy to make such a risky and provocative move in the first place? Let's break it down. Born Albert Thomas in 1975, Yella Boy grew up on the tough streets of New Orleans, a city known for its rich music culture. From the start, he was immersed in that vibrant scene, and it shaped him in ways that would eventually put him on the map. By the early 90s, Yella Boy linked up with two other local rappers, Lil Ya, Yaphet Jones, and Tech 9, Reginald Manuel, to form the group U.N.L.V, short for Uptown N Living Violent. With a name like that, it's clear these guys weren't playing around.
Man, you could come over here, but at the same time, me and Ya, we still doing our thing with the music, and it had begun to blow up. And Yella wanted a part of it.
U.N.L.V brought something raw and real to the table. Their music wasn't just about catchy beats, it was a reflection of life in the streets. They blended the bounce-heavy beats that New Orleans is known for with hardcore gangsta rap lyrics, creating a sound that was both unique and authentic. If you listened to their tracks, it was like taking a trip through their neighborhoods. You could feel the energy, the struggles, and the stories they were living every day. It wasn't long before their talent caught the attention of two brothers who were starting to make a name for themselves in the music world, Brian Birdman Williams and Ronald Slim Williams. These two were building something big with Cash Money Records, and when they heard U.N.L.V, they knew the group was something special. Signing U.N.L.V was a bold move that put Cash Money Records on the map and marked the beginning of the label's rise to dominance in Southern hip-hop. In 1993, U.N.L.V dropped their debut album, Six and Barone, named after a well-known corner in New Orleans. The album stayed true to their roots, painting vivid pictures of street life in their city. It became a local sensation. While it didn't break out nationally in New Orleans, Sixth and Barone was the hottest thing on the streets. Everyone was talking about U.N.L.V, and their music was blasting out of speakers all over the city. Over the next couple of years, the group kept dropping heat. Their 1994 album Straight Out Thuggutta and 1995's Mac Melf Callio solidified their place as one of New Orleans' most authentic voices. They stuck to what made them stand out. Hard-hitting lyrics about the realities of street life paired with those infectious New Orleans beats that made you want to move, no matter what. Out of the group, Yella Boy was the standout. He had this way of commanding attention whenever he touched the mic. His flow was aggressive, his wordplay was sharp, and his energy was undeniable. Yella Boy could spit rhymes that painted vivid, almost cinematic pictures of the world around him. Fans were drawn to him, not just for his talent, but for his larger-than-life personality. Picture this, Yella Boy rolling up in his signature red Isuzu Trooper, mouth full of gold teeth, looking like a star even before he had the national spotlight.
And Yella Boy, to be honest, he was the fans' favorite. His melodies, how he delivered, his charisma with the mouth full of goals. He pulling up in the red trooper, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just was, it messed the city up, man.
He had this charisma that made him unforgettable, both on and off the mic. In New Orleans, everyone knew who Yella Boy was, and they knew he was destined for big things. His style was aggressive yet polished, and his lyrics hit hard, resonating with anyone who'd experienced the ups and downs of street life. When Yella Boy stepped into the studio, you knew he was about to deliver something powerful. He had this ability to bring his stories to life in a way that made you feel every word, every emotion. That's what set him apart from the rest. He wasn't just a rapper, he was a storyteller, and the streets of New Orleans were his canvas. Now, you'd think with all the success U.N.L.V was having, everything would be smooth sailing, right? Well, not exactly. As the group's fame grew, so did the problems behind the scenes. And these weren't just minor disagreements. We're talking serious issues that would eventually spark one of the most infamous fallouts in New Orleans rap history. The biggest issue? Money. Of course, it's always about the money. Yella Boy and the rest of U.N.L.V started feeling like they weren't getting their fair share of the profits their music was bringing in. They were blowing up, their albums were hot in the streets, and their sound was helping put Cash Money Records on the map. But their bank accounts didn't reflect that success. Naturally, this led to heated arguments between U.N.L.V and the Cash Money crew, particularly Birdman.
Once they got the deal, we asked Baby and Slim for, X amount of money, you know what I'm saying? Once they got the deal, they were like, nah, we can't give y'all that right now, dog, you know what I'm saying?
There was a rumor that there were some unpaid royalties around that time.
Yeah, we didn't find out that until once we had got off the contract. That's when, we went to discovering like, damn.
But money wasn't the only problem. As Cash Money started signing more artists, like the up-and-coming Hot Boys, featuring a young Lil Wayne, U.N.L.V began to feel like they were being pushed to the side. It was a bitter pill to swallow. They had helped build the foundation of the label, putting in the work to establish Cash Money's presence in New Orleans, and now it seemed like Birdman and Slim were focused on the next wave of talent. For Yella Boy, this wasn't just business, it was personal. U.N.L.V had been there from the beginning, putting Cash Money on their backs and helping the label gain traction. Watching newer artists get all the attention while they were seemingly sidelined didn't sit right with him or his crew. The tension between U.N.L.V and Cash Money was simmering, and it was only a matter of time before things boiled over. And then, things got wild. Rumors started flying all over New Orleans about a confrontation between Yella Boy and Birdman. The word on the street? Yella Boy had pistol-whipped Birdman during an argument about money. Let that sink in. Pistol-whipped the boss of Cash Money Records. But it didn't stop there. Allegedly, Yella Boy escalated things even further by shooting up Birdman's truck. That's right, he supposedly lit up the ride of the man running the label. If these stories are true, it's clear Yella Boy wasn't just upset. He was furious and he wasn't afraid to show it.
Well, around the time that you guys part ways, there was a rumor that Yella Boy pistol whipped Baby and shot up one of his trucks.
Yella did
Okay,
Yella did actually go to his house looking for him and, shot up the house and
Of course, nobody knows for sure if all of this went down exactly as people say. These stories were everywhere in New Orleans, passed around in barbershops, clubs, and street corners. Whether they were true or exaggerated, one thing was certain. The relationship between U.N.L.V and Cash Money was crumbling, and the tension was at an all-time high. While all the drama between Yella Boy and Birdman was going down, there was another storm brewing, this time between U.N.L.V and Cash Money's rising stars, the Hot Boys. The Hot Boys were the new golden boys of the label, and U.N.L.V wasn't exactly thrilled about it. Tensions were high as U.N.L.V started feeling like they were being replaced, and Yella Boy wasn't the type to let that slide without making his presence known. One of the wildest stories from this beef involves Yella Boy and Hot Boys member Turk. Back then, Turk was still a high school student, just a young guy trying to make his way in the rap game. But even at that age, he'd already heard plenty about Yella Boy's reputation. So when word got out that Yella Boy had shown up at Turk's high school looking for him, things got real. Turk later shared the story in an interview, and you could tell it left a lasting impression. He said, "Man, I was young, bro, I ain't even gonna lie. When I first started coming around Cash Money, we was the new up-and-coming group. U.N.L.V, they were already established, you know what I'm saying? I guess there was tension because we were the next big thing, and maybe they thought we were trying to take their spot." Turk explained that he was still catching the bus to school back then. He didn't even have a car yet. One day, someone at school told him, "Man, Yella Boy's outside." Hearing that, Turk froze. All the while I'm thinking, man, they mad at us because we're the new group, and U.N.L.V ain't the main focus anymore. And when it came to Yella Boy, Turk wasn't taking any chances. I was hiding in the hallway, Turk admitted. I was young, bro, and I'd heard so many stories about him, about how he was out here thugging, how he was a gangster. I wasn't about to go out there and see him. I stayed in that hallway until I was sure he was gone. After Yella Boy left, Turk finally came out of hiding. It was crazy, man, he said, because at the time, I was a fan of U.N.L.V, we all were. They were legends to us. So it wasn't like we were trying to take their shine or replace them. We just wanted to make our own mark. But I guess they didn't see it that way.
So Yella Boy out there, I'm hiding in the hallway, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm young though, you know? So bam, I'm like, man, I ain't about to go out with him, cause I done heard so much stories about him, like he thugging, he gangster. Just being a fan of them to becoming like, I don't know if they thought that we was trying to take their shine or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
By 1996, the tension between Yella Boy and Cash Money had reached its breaking point. Rumors were swirling that Birdman was considering dropping U.N.L.V from the label, a move that would have been unthinkable given how much the group had done to put Cash Money on the map. But Yella Boy wasn't the type to just roll over and accept it. He had a fiery personality and a reputation for standing his ground. So if Birdman was really planning to cut ties, you could bet Yella wasn't going down without a fight. Then came April 5th, 1997, a night that would change everything. Yella Boy, just 22 years old, was parked in his car outside a club called Tammy's. Word on the street was that he was there to make a drug deal. But something went horribly wrong. In the blink of an eye, his life was taken, shot in the head while sitting in his car. When the news broke, it was like the entire city of New Orleans stopped. One of its most promising young rap stars was gone. Just like that, in the aftermath of Yella Boy's death, the streets were buzzing with questions. Who could have done this? Why? And as expected, a lot of fingers pointed straight at Birdman. The history between Yella Boy and Birdman wasn't exactly a secret. People were quick to bring up all the beef between them. The alleged pistol whipping incident, the rumors about Yella shooting up Birdman's truck, and their constant arguments over money. The bad blood between them seemed like more than enough motive. Then in 2002, Birdman dropped a track with the clips called "What Happened to That Boy?" The song raised even more eyebrows when Birdman rapped a line that went, "What happened to that boy? He was talking shy. We put a clap into that boy." For a lot of people, that was all the confirmation they needed. They believed Birdman was openly bragging about being involved in Yella Boy's death, but not everyone was convinced. Lil Ya, Yella's bandmate and longtime friend, has publicly said he doesn't believe Birdman was behind Yella Boy's murder. According to Lil Ya, the beef between Birdman and Yella wasn't as deep as people made it out to be, and Birdman would never have taken it to that level. Birdman himself has also denied any involvement, repeatedly shutting down the rumors. Still, there was another name that kept coming up in conversations: Terrence "Gangsta" Williams, Birdman's half-brother. Gangsta Williams had a reputation for being deeply entrenched in the streets, and many people speculated that he might have had something to do with Yella Boy's death. Whether he acted on his own or on someone else's orders was another question entirely. The speculation about Gangsta Williams gained traction because of his past and his connection to Birdman. The story of their relationship is as complicated as it is chilling. By the time Birdman was 16, he was already a young street millionaire, living the flashy lifestyle that most people could only dream of. He had it all: cars, jewelry, women, and the respect of uptown New Orleans. And because of all this, young Terrence couldn't wait to meet his older brother and make a good impression on him, just like any little kid would want to do. Finally, that chance came, but it wasn't at all what Terrence expected. Here's where the story takes an unexpected turn.
My mother's phone rang. Phone rang in the kitchen. I answer it. It's baby on the other end. I'm gonna be around there. Come outside when you hit a horn, all right?
11-year-old Terrence was over the moon when he heard his older brother was coming by. For over an hour, he sat by the window, eagerly waiting for the sound of a honking horn. Then finally he saw it, a brand new SUV, music blasting, cruising down the street. Terrence couldn't contain his excitement. He jumped up and sprinted outside to the car. There, behind the wheel, was his brother, Baby. There was no one in the passenger seat, and a bunch of girls were packed into the back. Big Bro told Terrence to hop in the car. And for Terrence, this felt like a dream come true. So he quickly jumped in the passenger seat, grinning ear to ear. But that's when things took a strange turn. Out of nowhere, Baby pulled a gun and put it to the back of Terrence's head.
We go for a ride. I'm excited. But no, when I first got in the car, a gun go to the back of my head. And I'm like, what the? I'm shocked because I'm happy to see big bro, nice car, but gun, I'm like, what?
Terrence was confused and didn't know what to think. But then Baby explained it was all a lesson. According to Terrence, his brother was teaching him to always be aware and stay on his toes.
See, that's the first rule. Don't never get in that front seat, let nobody sit behind you. Unless you know who this person is, you really trust the person. You just jumping here, you're not paying attention. So I was being.
It was a puzzling and unsettling experience. Sure, you could argue that Baby was teaching him some kind of survival tactic, but why would an 11-year-old boy need to learn something like that? Was Baby preparing him for the harsh realities of life in New Orleans? Or was this a preview of the street life Terrence was being G'd for? It didn't take long to get an answer. The next time Baby came around, he asked Terrence to hop in the car again. But this time, he handed him a gun. Terrence, holding a piece for the first time, was ready to do whatever he needed to impress his older brother. They drove around for a bit until Baby pointed out a young man and told Terrence to shoot. Without hesitation, Terrence jumped out of the car and, in a tragic turn of events, K-worded the young man.
Come on, brought me around the corner, pointed him out, shoot him.
Okay.
I get out the car, walk up, shot him to the head, the chest, and in the back.
Instead of running back to the car though, Terrence bolted off in another direction.
And I ran, instead of me jumping back in the car, I ran back home.
Okay. Did he survive?
No.
He had just committed a serious crime, but all he could think about was whether or not he had made his brother proud.
Did it, and I hope I made him happy. I'm hoping Big Bro is happy that I pulled off this crime, got away, and most importantly, I didn't run my mouth.
But Gangsta Williams wasn't having it. He made it clear he had nothing to do with Yella Boy's death and even threw out a bold theory of his own. According to him, people should stop pointing fingers at him or Birdman and start looking closer to Yella Boy's own circle. Gangsta hinted that the answers might lie within Yella's old crew, friends, associates, and others who were part of his life before his tragic end. The problem was, by that point, a lot of Yella Boy's old associates were either dead or locked up. The streets had a way of catching up with people. For many who ran in Yella Boy's circles, life had taken some rough turns, and that made it even harder to piece together the puzzle of what really happened that night in April 1997. Yella Boy's death remains one of the biggest mysteries in New Orleans rap history. The police never solved the case, and with so much time passed and so many conflicting stories, the truth feels almost impossible to uncover. Was it a street beef that spiraled out of control? Was it someone close to him? Or was it tied to the ongoing drama with Birdman and Cash Money? No one knows for sure. What we do know is that the New Orleans rap scene lost one of its brightest stars that night. At just 22 years old, Yella Boy had so much more to give. His career was on the rise, and his talent was undeniable. If he'd lived, who knows what kind of impact he could have had, not just on New Orleans hip-hop, but on Southern rap as a whole. Despite the tragedy of his death, Yella Boy's legacy lives on through his music. Fans still blast U.N.L.V's tracks, appreciating the raw energy and realness Yella brought to every verse. Also, for many fans, Yella Boy's grave in New Orleans has become a sacred spot. They visit to pay their respects, leaving flowers, notes, and even candles as a way to honor his memory.